Hey VAT, we're back with another excellent video for you to follow along and learn how to use a couple basic tools in Adobe Illustrator. Today we're going to create new. We're going to go to the print options and go to letter size document. Hit create. And in here, what we're going to do is we're going to start by using this tool called the line segment tool. It looks like a slash. Click on it. You can click and drag with the line segment tool and it makes lines. If you hold shift, it stays straight. You can also pull down when holding shift and it will click 45-degree in 45-degree increments. Go ahead and let go and it produces a black line by default. The black line is 1 point, so it's pretty skinny. If you increase the weight, the line will get thicker. I'm going to produce a second line by using the line segment tool and make that line even heavier. And then a third line and that's going to be even the heaviest. Okay, so I have three lines now of varying weight. I'm going to move those closer together. And now I'm going to copy and paste those lines. So here I go. I'm selecting all three of those lines. Remember, you can select multiple objects in Adobe Illustrator using the selection tool, the black arrow, and you can click and drag to select all three, or hold down shift, click on one, hold down shift, click on two, holding down shift, click on three, and then all three of those will be selected. You can go to edit, copy, edit, paste, or you can hit Control C, which copies, Control V will paste, or you can simply hold down the Alt key, and when you have these things selected, holding down Alt will allow you to click on your selection and drag to make a duplicate. On this duplicate, these lines, I'm going to change the color. So again, you can select these lines, and notice that in the appearance dialog box and also at the bottom of your toolbar, you have no color in the fill. It's a red slash, and that means no color. A stroke or a line does not have a fill color. The only way to change its color is to change the color in the stroke option panel. So you can click on the stroke and you can change the stroke color here to whatever color you want. So now I've got three lines, all different colors. I'm going to copy and paste these again. So I'm going to select all these color ones, going to hold down Alt, and move those down. These three, what I want you to do is I want you to select one of those three lines, and I want you to edit those. We've done color, we've done weight, but now go to the stroke options right here to click on that word stroke, and then you can see inside there's the option to change the profile of each line. So uniform is just straight across, but what happens when we tell it to be the width profile number 1? And what happens if I tell this line to be profile number 2? And what happens to this line when I select it, tell it to be this profile here? So different styles of lines can be produced by changing up their profile. Okay. Next, I want you to copy and paste these lines yet again. Actually, I'm going to copy and paste these color ones right here. And for this one, I'm going to click on the line, and I'm going to click on all three actually, and I'm going to go into the stroke dialog box again, and just look at, you have the option to change the caps of each line so you can have rounded ends or beveled. Oh, sorry, there we go. They can be flat. It's called a butt cap, which is pretty awesome. And then there's a round cap, which should be called a butt cap because it's round, like a butt. This one's the Kim Kardashian. Sorry. Those now have round caps on them. You can also use the line segment tool to make perpendicular lines or lines that sort of touch, and then you can select those lines See, they're not connected. You can select both of those lines, right-click on them, and go to Join. And it'll join those two lines together to make a corner. And then inside the Stroke dialog box, you have the option to make a beveled corner, a round corner, or a straight 90-degree corner that they call a miter join. Okay, so there's one more thing about the line segment tool that you should know. If you click and hold the mouse button on it, inside there are two other tools that I use. I don't usually use the grid tool or the polar grid tool, but I do oftentimes need to make a spiral. And you can pull out a spiral. Holding down Control will allow you to tighten the coil or loosen the coil. And then letting go of that, now hitting up arrows and down arrows can make your spiral go back, or less. More, less. More. Okay, too much fun. I'm going to decrease the weight of that a little bit because it looks like the coils are so thick that they're actually kind of like touching each other. So I'm going to decrease the weight on that and then show you this other tool called the arc tool. Arc tool makes arcs. You can hit up and down and it decreases or increases the amount of curve. Adjust the curve, and then you can hold down Alt and flip this arc all throughout space and time. It's kind of exciting. When you're done and you get the arc that you want, you let go. Creates an arc. Pretty cool. Alright, so that's that tool. The last tool, the second tool and last one that I'll show you guys is called the pen tool, and it's probably the most important tool in Adobe Illustrator because it creates anchor points. By clicking once, an anchor point is created, and then if you create another anchor point, it connects those anchor points with a stroke, with a path. So you can make lines of any kind. Okay. It also can create any shape you want because you can go all the way around until you get back to where you started and close that shape by clicking on the anchor point that you created first. So going full circle or full square produces a shape, and then you can put a fill in it. Once it's a closed shape, you can fill it with whatever color you want, just like any other shape that we've made so far. Now, the cool thing about the most complicated and the coolest thing about the pen tool is that you can click and drag, hold the mouse button down and drag, and when you do that, it gives your anchor points that you're creating handlebars. And as we know from adjusting circles, anything that has a curve, the curve is controlled by the handlebars. So you can create blobs and organic shapes of all kinds. And don't forget that you can use the direct selection tool to directly select individual anchor points by clicking on them. And then you can click and hold the mouse button down and drag. Click on it, handlebars to move those handlebars and adjust the curve. And last thing I want to show you is if I wanted to mold this thing into like a very complicated shape, like a unicorn, I would have to add more anchor points because there's not enough anchor points for me to get the detail I want. So inside that pen tool, there is an add anchor point tool and a delete anchor point tool for that matter, but the add anchor point tool can add anchor points to any selected shape. And then with more anchor points comes more control with the direct selection tool to mold this into anything you want. So, sky's the limit. I hope this helps. See you in class.